All right, you guys, today we've got Staack here, good friend of our family, and he's coached at WSR for 30 years and just stepped away from it this fall. Football, wrestling, I'm assuming there's others you've done as well, track and field maybe. And so he's going to be talking with you guys today, asking questions. He's got a lot of experience, and that's why we bring these guys in for you. So, Coach Staack, it's all yours.
It's kind of overwhelming. I spent 20-some years lying to middle school kids when I came here, and the last 5 years I've been lying to high school kids, and now I'm gonna try to lie to you guys about this stuff. So hang in there.
But you're professional at it, then, right?
I really do. Yeah. That's why I don't want to videotape it. Yeah. So first of all, she said to make sure I talk the whole hour, and I'm sitting down because I'm old and fat. One of the reasons I gave up football this fall is after this fall for 33 years of coaching is I still work in the cornfields and I'm in Tassel. And so after a summer working in the cornfields and then having a bad knee and then going out to football practice every night from 3:30 to 7 o'clock, I could barely get around. And I got a father that's 80 and I've got my first grandbaby that's a year and a half old. And I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to take care of both of them, to be around. My wife would go visit my granddaughter last fall when she was 4 months old, and I'm like, she just drools, it's fine, go. And then this fall when she would go and I'd stay back and coach till 7 o'clock at night, I'd be like, kind of jealous. I want to hang with my granddaughter, be with my wife, and then my father's been without my mom for about 8 years, and he's more needy than my granddaughter. So that's my goals in life. I want you guys to take just a second. I want you to write down a question or two. I'm gonna try and, be brief, I guess. It's just a bunch of storytelling is all I got. I'm not like Whitfield. I'm not rah-rah. I'm the opposite of rah-rah. You'll find out real quick why I went from being a head coach to a JV coach. I'm a guy that coaches the underdog, I guess, if you will. So again, yeah. I want to thank Jen. Last night, I went to bed at 8 o'clock. My wife goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm supposed to talk tomorrow." I said, "If I just go meditate for an hour, I'll get it all figured out." About 9 o'clock, I probably fell asleep. It was awesome. 1:15, I woke up. Didn't go back to bed till after fall asleep till after 4. I didn't get up and write anything down, but I went down the path of memory lane from the time I was a little biter to where I'm at now. And I tell you what, the emotions are crazy. When my coaching staff this fall, we said hey, let's see you later. I might be coaching still this fall in some capacity, but I shared some things with them, and I just got really emotional. And I'm an emotional guy, but it was really hard because what I have for you is experiences. I just have experiences, and when I say that, it's like my youngest son, Jake, is a freshman. Went to school with her, Jake. And he's a freshman, and he was just a disaster last year as a senior in high school. And I kept telling him, you have not met your best friends yet. Wait till you go to college. You haven't met your wife yet. Just wait. But you don't realize that stuff without experiences. So I hope I can share some experiences of mine with you. And maybe it'll help you understand where I'm coming from when I say some of the things I say. Okay, I can't see very well. So I almost put my sunglasses on. You see that? That'd be bad. So last night, memory lane. Thinking about all the things. I would tell you that for the last 5 or 6 years, my favorite part of the football game is the national anthem. Because when I listen to the national anthem, I start with my family, and I just give thanks. And it goes from my family to my extended family, my pastor, and then I start thinking about my friends and my coaches in Hudson and how they impacted my life. And then I think about my friends and my coaches at Warburg College and how they affected my life. And I think about my friends and my coaches at West Des Moines Valley High School and how they've affected my life. And then I come back here to the community of Waverly and how it continues to affect my life and my kids and you and I and where my kids have gone to. And it's just like, I've had such great experiences. I've gotten to know such great people that have all impacted me in positive ways. So my dad always said, surround yourself with great people, things will be all right. I hope in my message today, through my journey, my main points would be, kids need to have fun. Kids used to go out and play all the time, man. Just go out and have fun. There's nothing else to do. And that's hard to remember when I'm coaching 3rd and 4th grade PB football with some of my buddies, with all 3 of my boys. It was easy to have fun. And then, you know, I did coach in junior high, and in high school, it's like, it gets a little more serious. Sometimes you forget to step back and have fun. My daughter always reminded me, Dad, you always want to get the work done first and then play. She said, it's okay if we have fun first, or if we have fun while we work. So part of my message is it's got to be fun. I do coach the underdog. I think being a JV coach for the last 15 years after having been a head varsity football coach was great for me. There's not enough kids that are willing to put in the time anymore and wait for their chance to get in, to be a part of something. It's like, I want to be the guy or the gal. I want to be that person. And so I found myself the last number of years, like trying to find a way to give them a vision of, hey, what could it be like a year from now? What could it be like 2 years from now? You know, you have no idea how much you can change. The way you look, the way you feel. Just close your eyes and think what it could be like, and wait till you're a senior and see what happens. Stick around. There's so many other things that are going on in the world, and each sport takes so much more time. Like when I was in high school, it's like football's over. Unless you're really good, you get a couple, 2 or 3 weeks off, then you go to wrestling practice, and wrestling's over, you got a few weeks off, and you go to track practice, and then you go to baseball practice, and that's what it was for a lot of four sport athletes back in the day. And now, you know, as my own kids have lived it, you know, that wasn't the case. You know, I had boys that specialized in wrestling, and my daughter specialized in volleyball, and we were those parents that took our daughter all over the country as a part of a team. And you know, she actually got scholarship at UNI and played for UNI. It worked for her. Most of the people she played with, it didn't work for. So we spent money, and I should say the camaraderie with the parents, hanging out, pretty good time. Doesn't change, but yeah, it's specialization is part of the deal now. But I do coach the underdog. The most important part of anything you'll ever do the rest of your life is relationships. Relationships are the key. Yeah, there's always something you can learn from somebody. There's always, you know, and it's really always about making sure you're making other people feel good about themselves. I'll tell you what, with this emotional disaster society we live in right now, and I tell you what, I've lived it with my own kids. I even got talked to. They put me on some medicine a few years ago. They're like, you are way too stressed, man. You got 0 patience. And so, yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll take some of that stuff. Give me some of that stuff. Yeah, give me some more. That feels pretty good. Okay, I don't want to get out of the bed anymore. Okay, maybe we shouldn't take so much pills. Yeah, we've been there. I've been there. I think the other thing is, as you coach underdogs, as you coach kids, wanting them to develop, to stick around, because you never know what somebody's going to turn out to be. I think you have to redefine winning. I don't want to talk a lot about winning, but I think you can redefine winning. You got to lie to kids. If you're coaching young kids, you got to lie to them, and you got to tell them they're winning every day. You know, we may never win a game, but man, in practice we're awesome. You got to lie to kids, and they believe you, because if you care about them, they'll know it. So just a little bit about. You guys got a question written down for me yet? Not now, I don't want them yet. But you got a question for me at some point, right? Some of you? Let me tell you a little bit about my journey. So I grew up in Hudson, and I grew up, I know this is really easy for them to understand. I grew up a fat kid. I wasn't always fat though, man. about 7th, 8th grade, my sister said to this, at that time, I was probably 230. My sister, a couple years older, she's a pretty good athlete. She says to me, you know, if you would, like, maybe try to lose some weight, maybe lift some weights, you might actually have a girlfriend someday. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of cool. So in 9th grade, you know, I wrestled since 3rd grade. I was awesome. Never won a match. Wrestled in junior high, 7th, 8th grade. Never won a match. 9th grade, it's time to lose some weight. It was at 185 then, so I lost quite a bit of weight. Met my future wife, didn't recognize me. Met her at a restaurant, go figure. Lost some weight, started lifting weights, you know, wrestling, won one match. Sophomore year, made varsity at 185. 155 pounder, couldn't make varsity, wrestled up, beat me out. I wrestled JV the rest of the year. It's terrible. Terrible. Kept lifting weights, kept working out, liked to run. My dad was a principal. My mom was the AD secretary, so I was scared to do anything wrong my entire life. I still am. My dad's 80 years old, I still am scared of my dad. I don't want to disappoint him. By the time I'm a senior, I'm conference champion. I was a terrible wrestler. Our conference must have been horrible. I'm a conference champion. 7th grade football. Hudson, Iowa needed everybody out for football, or they couldn't have a team. So I was on the football team. Coach would get upset when we jumped offside. Just take a lap, Staack. Okay. You had to go up a hill and around the track. By the time I get back, practice be half over. If I jumped off the side twice, I'd just go straight to the locker room. But he never gave up on me, you know. He was one of those guys, he coached everybody. He was a ton of fun. Talked like Bill Murray. He's awesome. Coach Heupel was awesome. My mom and dad saw how bad I was hurting as this overweight 7th grade kid. And I remember them coming into my room one night. And they sat on the edge of the bed, prayer time, and they said, son, we understand this is really hard for you. We know that this has been a goal your whole life to play football, because, man, you walk around Hudson and those guys got their jerseys on and they wear these cool things that the cheerleaders make them with little candy bars on them on Fridays in their blue jeans, and all the girls are like looking at them. I'm like, I want to be like that. 7th grade was tough. My folks gave me permission to quit. They said, it's hard. We get it. It's okay. We love you. They loved me unconditionally. My folks did. I went to bed that night. I cried. I'm like, I'm never going to quit. They gave me permission to quit. I'm never going to quit. So I played football because everybody needed everybody. I played football. By the time I'm a junior, senior, I'm that guy pushing everybody. Let's get to the weight room. You know, I did all 4 sports. It was good for me. And you know, football was great, and I had a ton of fun. And I got to play my junior and senior year, and I loved it. It was fun. We did pretty good. And then it's time to go to college. And I ended up at Warburg. I didn't know where I was going to go. Somebody from BB thought I was a pretty good wrestler. Never seen me wrestle, I guarantee you. So I came here to play football. My roommate was a year older than me. He was on the football team. He's going to play football. And so I stuck around. And I came to Warburg and I played football. And it was after I played in the Shrine Bowl. After the Shrine Bowl, I got my wisdom teeth out. It was a terrible experience. Lost about 15, 20 pounds. Come from max outs, all that stuff. Oh, pitiful. I ended up being a 4-year starter. I'm smarter than the average bear. Okay, I'm that guy. I'm intelligent.
Yep.
Right? I got 36 on my ECT, right? I just sound stupid. But I was a 4-year starter at Warburg. I got to be a captain at Warburg. I was an academic All-American at Warburg. Best 4 years of my life. What if my folks wouldn't have told me to quit? You know, what if I wouldn't have stuck with it? What if my coaches didn't believe in me? That's why I coached the underdog. I was an underdog. I had my folks' support. I had my sister's support. My folks loved me so much. I think I'm good looking to this day. I mean, I close my eyes and think I'm skinny, sexy. Can't cross the line. My wife would be pissed at me right now, wouldn't she? So Warburg College was great for me. I did do track for 2 years. I was a thrower. I did go to state in high school. Technique was, I understood it. I wasn't real strong, I just understood it. I had good coaches, really good coaches. I wrestled 1 year for Dick Walker. Dick Walker's last year, and I still have the wristband from the fall when I found it.
Oh, that's cool.
Still got so when your father-in-law was killed, I still have that wristband from our senior year. The relationships that I made with that group of guys in that time, and we ended up being 9-1 our senior year. That was Don Cantor's last year. We had a great season. Kyle and I were co-captains. We were both academic All-Americans, and our other academic All-American, Bernie, has cancer. Last summer, we got together, 15 of us at a cabin. I haven't seen these guys, stayed in touch kinda, but the relationships that we had back in 1990 and 1991, those last couple years, we got together like it was yesterday. And Bernie had just beaten cancer, now it's back. And so I got this text strand thing that blows up. Steve's a part of that thing. It's crazy how much emotion comes back from the good times that you had, the people that you met, the stupid people that I met, the crazy people that I met, and what we did and got away with. Apologize. I didn't marry my high school sweetheart. She came to Warburg. If you look in my Bible from junior high, I wrote a letter to myself about what I wanted to do someday. And I wanted to marry another teacher. I wanted to have 4 kids. I wanted to live on an acreage and have dogs and coach football and teach math. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's crazy. It's like I just wished it hard enough that that's what happened to me. And so my bride and I, we get married. We graduate in May, we get married in June, and in July we head to Des Moines. So I coached at West Des Moines Valley High School for my first 8 years. And my wife taught and coached at Johnston. She still taught this, she was the 6-on-6 basketball coach still at the time. And the experiences I had down there under Lee Crawford for 3 years, Mike Woodley was the head football coach for 1 year before he went to Iowa State. And then Gary Swenson for the next 4 years were fantastic. I just heard from my first student teacher. It sounds like I'm bragging, and I am, because I'm proud. My first student teacher from Drake University, nobody would take him as a student teacher because he didn't understand math. He was trying to teach math. But I took him, and he coached football with us that fall. Just took a job as the defensive line coach for the Colts. It was pretty cool. So Charlie Partridge reached out to me and he said, "Hey, look what I'm doing now, Coach." I'm like, "That's pretty cool." You know, and I've the experiences. I coached I got a kid I coached in the Valley that's got a Super Bowl ring, Justin Hartwig. There's so many special kids, and I stay in touch with them. And that was the hardest part for me of being a middle school teacher and a middle school coach, because those kids are nuts. And I think they really know they're nuts, and you don't necessarily have a relationship with them the rest of your life. And what I love the most about being a high school coach is I maintained the relationship with those kids over the years. I still hear from them, I still reach out to them, I still do Christmas cards for them. Some of them, I couldn't even tell you how much they played for me. At Valley, I coached varsity track for 8 years, varsity wrestling for 8 years, and varsity football for 8 years. Then I came here, coached under Coach Arns, coached wrestling. I think I coached 33 years football, 30 years wrestling, and 22 track.
Wow.
And loved every minute of it. The one thing I would say is coaching track. I coached guys for probably the first 12 years, and then girls. And that coaching girl stuff is, I don't even understand my own daughter. So, yeah. So I married the love of my life, right? And some experiences I had with my kids growing up. My oldest son, I started all my boys wrestling when they were in 5th grade, 5 years old. My oldest boy wrestled at Warburg, right? He's a state champion. 5 years old, never won a match. He won his first match in 6th grade. And I didn't care. We just wanted to be around him. We just wanted to be around other people. I remember when Staack came to town. He goes, Staack, I remember meeting you. Your kid was out wrestling, he's getting pinned. He's like, I'm all right, Dad, I'm all right. He gave me the thumbs up. I'm like, whatever. He couldn't win. He wrestled in junior high. Sucked. And he started getting a little better in 8th grade. And I remember telling my wife, we were down in the state AU, and my son got 3rd place, and he's crying. And I called my wife. I said, honey, we got a problem. She's like, what? I go, our son actually gives a crap. He actually cares. I mean, we just want him to have fun. And he actually cared. He cared about losing. I'm like, I see a lot of parents that try to make their kids tough. I don't think you can make a kid tough. I think they got to figure it out themselves. You can give them experiences, give them opportunities, but I think sometimes you try to make a kid tough. Backfires in your face. That's my oldest. Proud of him. Proud of all my kids. And my daughter, she's the one that does volleyball like crazy. I taught her everything I knew with a balloon and a couch. That's how we learned. That's all we did. I don't know anything about volleyball. I've been going to volleyball my entire life. I don't understand half what they do. But we played. And my daughter, we got a vaulted ceiling in our kitchen, and my daughter, she played volleyball in the kitchen. I mean, plates got broken. We got like volleyball marks all over, and my wife's like, we got a pin. I go, bullshit. That stays there, right? We're gonna leave those marks there forever. Excuse me for swearing. Nail holes popping out, but my daughter played volleyball in the house all the time. She's libero.
Yep.
And she's like my little linebacker, is what she is, jumping all over the floor. She married Austin Fife, who's a pretty good basketball player. He's about good as me. Coaching at UNI now. We moved from West Des Moines here with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And when we moved here, I said to my wife, hey, we're back to where we wanted to be. Time to have more kids. So we had 2 more kids. Little spread in them. And so then I've got Gentry, who's a senior at UNI, 3-time All-American in rugby. He's the kid that when Whitcomb says, sign a contract so that you show up for these practices outside of wrestling season, my son is gonna sign that contract and he's gonna do more. And if you have anxiety, depression, it's gonna kill you. And I thought I was gonna lose my son after his sophomore season. I didn't, hey son, here's what you do. You go to Coach Whitcomb. Coach Whitcomb's doing what I would do. He's trying to get you to do everything. He wants you to be a part of wrestling. He wants you to do everything. But you have to go to him and say, enough's enough. I'll do a little bit, I can't do it all. He'll understand, he'll listen to you. And like any coach would, we want to coach kids to do more, to do as much as they can. No different than I would do. So my son came to town, talked to Coach Whitcomb on a Sunday. Afterwards, he went to practice because he was convinced to go to the Sunday practice. And then I can't find my son. I'm looking all over. This is before the phone would tell me where the heck he was. I found him. I found him at the Avenue of the Saints with his fishing rod on the other side, crying. I don't think he even had his line in the water. So it didn't go well. I go, that's just kind of kid you are, man. But I'm telling you, when we have high expectations of kids, my boy like Gentry, he's gonna do everything you said and more. He wants to please you. He doesn't want to disappoint you, but he ain't in love with it. And he's not having fun. He was wrestling because he wanted to be a better rugby player. He was wrestling because he wanted to be a better football player. My oldest son was wrestling because he wanted to be a better football player. Then he fell in love with wrestling. And so when he came to work, he wanted wrestling. And then there's my youngest son. What a piece of work. You guys want to party, you gotta find my son Jake. Jake would do everything the coaches wanted him to do? No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't do anything the coaches wanted him to do. He has a big span in the bucket coach. Supposed to watch film, football film, report back to your coaches. Jake's the smartest kid I got in the house. I got really intelligent kids. He's the smartest kid. He ain't gonna do anything. You want him to watch film? Why? He's got every answer. He knows everything. And he'll argue with you. He ain't gonna do it. So does he not get to play then, right? I don't know. I stayed as far away from my kids when I coached football as possible. I asked to coach the defensive backs. Imagine this, coaching the defensive backs. I'm coaching DBs for the last 8 years because I don't want to coach the O-line and D-line because I don't want to be the guy that subs my kid. I don't want to, I don't want to be that guy. There's been too many coaches that have rubbed me the wrong way because of their kids. So I deal with my kids. I'm never going to talk to you during practice, after practice. We can talk at home if you want to, but I'm not going to talk to you. It's your deal. And so when they would want to talk to me, I'd say, that's fine, I'll listen to you. I had no idea what my son was doing because the coaches respected that. They took care of it themselves. My youngest, when he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, they just handled it. I found out later that he wasn't telling the lie. It's like, your own kid. So all kids are different. And kids are going through more. You guys are still kids, for God's sake. Kids are going through so much stuff, mental and emotionally. I think that when we coach kids, we need to coach them with unconditional love. We need to coach them as if someday they're going to be an all-star. We got to make them believe that they're special to a fault. Now, there comes a point where you lie to a kid too much in high school, and they're going to think they should be a starter too. And I'm not talking about the kids, the Jake Walkers of the world. I got to coach Jake Walker for a long time, and he's going to make it without a lot of coaching. I'm going to coach every kid. I'm going to love every kid. But when I can wander off and talk to a group of kids in football practice that aren't super engaged because they're not rotating in on the scout team, and just talk to them about what's going on and let them know that someday they got a shot, to get them to try to picture what life could be like sometime. So I shared some lessons with my own kids. Being a parent sucks sometimes. It's really hard. So as I laid in bed last night from 1:15 to 4:15, 4 o'clock, I really wish I would have jotted more down. But I did jot this down. My 3 favorite experiences from coaching. We had a young man on our team a dozen years ago by the name of Aaron Dunn. And Aaron Dunn was a high-functioning spectrum kid on the football team for all 4 years. His senior year, we played Charles City at home, one of the last games of the year. One of their kids who knew our kids said, tell your coach to give Doug the ball. Tell your coach to give Doug the ball. We're gonna let him score. It's the coolest thing ever. I could watch that videotape over and over. This autistic young man running around with football, and their guys trying to play the game. There wasn't a dry eye on our coaching staff. It was so cool. And it was a kid on the opposing team's idea. What a great young man. Very popular amongst our team. Next one would be a young man by the name of Tucker Hart. Tucker Hart, I think he got out of the scooter and into a wheelchair about 7th grade. Tucker's still alive. His dad, when I met with him for conferences, didn't think he'd make it out of high school. In 9th grade, Tucker wants to be a manager. Tucker was physically struggling. Tucker was also in my advanced math class. I teach stats, pre-calc, and intro to calc. He's amazing. He can't use a locker, so he would keep his books in my shelf, in my cupboard. One day he came in and got his coat hooked on my cupboard and ripped it right off. Another day, he liked his wheelchair. It's like he also needed a NASCAR guy. Just to put things in perspective. So one day he left my room. I'm like, Tucker, get back here! What's going on? I said, Tucker, what are you doing? He goes, sorry, my shoes are wet. They're a little squeaky. I'm like, okay, go. That's what kind of kid he is. He wanted to be our manager. And it came time for pictures, and we go up to the top of the stadium for pictures, and Tuck's in a wheelchair. He didn't have his jersey. I'm like, Tuck, where's your jersey? He goes, I can't get up there. We went and got him a jersey. My son and his buddy, the two biggest goofballs on the team, carried him up there. Guys, part of the team, right? He gets to lead the team out our last home game in his wheelchair, coming through, shredding the paper, right? This fall, he was there. His last fall. Was it last fall, right?
Yep.
He was an honorary captain.
Yep.
Tuck's still doing okay. Yeah. It's amazing how a team, you know what I'm saying? Around somebody like that has the heart, can't do. I mean, sometimes we think we got problems. I had a bad practice. I'm not starting. And now it's Dylan Engley. He's a 10th grader, nonverbal, autistic. But man, he can fetch a kickoff tee after the kickoff like none other. And when he gets it, people start cheering. Man, he is all jacked up. He is pumped. Again, I talked to his dad. His dad's a volunteer coach. I talked to his dad 4 years ago. I'm like, you got to get Dylan on the team. Dylan's got to be a part of this. And our community will love him and take care of him through high school and beyond. So those are my special experiences. I hope I didn't talk too much about winning. If you want to know about winning, don't ask me. I like to tell stories. They're not very connected. Coach Walker said you guys get to go home when I'm done. So what questions do you have for me right now? Thanks for listening. Yeah.
You said you coach some underdogs. Oftentimes there's going to be kids that are on those teams that don't necessarily want to be there, but they're kids that forcing them to be over there.
There are kids that, I don't know how I'm gonna answer that question very well, but I would tell you that there are kids that are JV kids, or kids that I've had in 5th and 6th grade football that don't wanna be there. So you make sure they have fun in practice. A young man by the name of Eric, that is his first name, he didn't want to touch the ball. So we said, well, you gotta run the ball. We gotta get you in the game. What do I do? I said, well, we're gonna teach you this play where you get the ball and you run up right there. It's out of bounds right there. And I said, if they start coming at you, just run backwards a little bit. You'll be okay. I had our quarterback last year, Cole Marsh. You guys, anybody heard of Cole Marsh? I don't know, maybe not. Going to Iowa, be a tight end next year. Put right tackle for me in 5th grade football. Because he had a big red dot on his helmet that said he was too big to carry the ball. And he's your quarterback. I don't know, you just make the best of it. Yeah, you're right. There are kids that don't want to be there. Sometimes I think you got to coach parents too. You know, make it realistic for them. There have been in JV football games, we got kids that will step into drills and things, and I'll say, hey, you ready to go? Oh, we'll get you. Oh, I don't want to go in. Okay. That's fine. But you give them a chance. I mean, there's not many of those kids, but there's a few. Then there's the foreign exchange student that came this year, Ken from Kenya. Just wants to get in one play. Just one play, coach. Okay, let's go. Coach, that's the most fun I've ever had in my life. Okay. Teach his own. That's tough. Parents are tough. What else? Yeah.
What did you learn from Wartburg football and your experience here to kind of use in your coaching world or coaching kind of the younger folks?
Sure. So our head coach at the time was Don Canfield. He left here in '91 to go to St. Olaf. He was the worst football coach around. Seriously. X's and O's. Our O-line coach kind of ran the show, right? And we didn't have many coaches on staff. 5, maybe a couple student coaches. But Coach Canfield was the greatest man I've ever played for. He was a man. He was a father to all of us. And, you know, we giggle about how he came in at halftime one day. I can remember Coach Canfield up in the bleachers because the offense turned the ball over and the defense ran out there and they scored anyway at the end of the first half. And Coach Canfield, this is it. Defense. When the offense turns over the ball, don't go out there going, oh, woe is me. The offense just turned over the ball. No! Go out there like a pack of banshees saying, ooh, what a great opportunity to turn the tide of the game and win one for Wartburg. And we're all going, that's Coach. But that's who he was, right? Coach had us over to his house every Friday for chocolate sundaes. After, the Sunday deal, the tradition. Great man. It wasn't about winning. It was about being loved. It was about a group of guys. He'd get the soapbox. He'd get us on the soapbox. He gave us the whole alcohol story. He gave us the sex talk. That was him. But it was genuine. It came from his heart. So there was nothing phony and baloney about him. And he was good because of the way he treated people. That's what made him successful. It wasn't the X's and O's. Shoot, man. Coach Canfield, he'd call off tackle right. And me and Lindauer with 2 guards, we would just make it work. It's like, okay, we're gonna block this G, base, or gap. It just depends on the defense. Well, then defenses start moving. I know how that works, right? But yeah, that was my experience playing football. Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned like your experience with your kids and stuff like that. Well, as a coach, like how do you view specialization? Like, do you think kids should, or they should pick one sport, or is it better, like from a coaching perspective, for kids to play multiple?
If I had it my way, I would have kids have multiple experiences, as many experiences as possible. It worked for me. I loved doing a little bit of everything. It was fun because I wasn't doing one thing. So I would like to see that, but I don't think, our world's changing, that it doesn't allow for that. When parents say like, hey man, my kid's gonna be quarterback, he's gotta work on quarterback stuff. Or my kid's gonna be a tight end, he's gotta work on tight end stuff. I'm like, no, your kid's an athlete. Your kid needs to work on being an athlete. Kids that go on and do things in college, how many kids get recruited and then they play something else, some other position, but because they're athletic. If you're athletic, if you're good, if you're talented, if you work hard, they're gonna find a place for you in your system. You don't need to specialize in football in a position, right? Now, my daughter, to be a libero for you and I, she had to specialize. That wasn't gonna happen. But that's what she wanted to do, that was her dream. She did not have a father who was gonna push her to play basketball. Didn't want her to wrestle. She played soccer. Soccer got in the way of volleyball. She was a starter, and they wouldn't let her play first half because she missed practice for volleyball. And she asked me what she should do. And I said, listen to them, sit and just wait till it's your turn, because you chose a club sport over a school sport. So I wasn't gonna take her side. She loves me. Good thing she looks like her mother. What else? Back in the day, being a Warburg, for me to do track for 2 years, wrestling for 1 year, and football for 4 years, you can't do that now. How many of you guys in here play football? You guys like to do workouts in the spring? We did yoga for a week, maybe. weightlifting program? You guys on a program? Yeah, we had no program. That was when Roger Britson came, that was after me. Yeah, there was no plan, we just lifted because we like to lift. He's whispering, ready to go home.
I'm good right now.
Anything else? To me, it's gotta be fun. To me, it's gotta be a family. Everything about me is, I mean, every kid that I have in class, every kid that I coach is a part of my family. I treat them like my own kids. I don't always treat my own kids very well. Coach, is there anything you'd like me to add, subtract? I can't subtract now, sorry. I have no clue what time it is.
I don't either. It's been 40 minutes, so that's pretty good. I just wanna say before Coach leaves that, you know, we got to have him at all different levels, my boys did, and he's exactly right. He treats everybody like they're his family, and I loved it when you would get to go and coach up Jake if he was frustrated. We didn't want him to go, we didn't want Steve, my husband, right? You didn't want to do the kid-dad thing, and so we always got Coach Staack, and he would love up on Jake when he'd get frustrated and kept him going and kept him from getting down the wrong direction, and that's what he did for every kid. And when you talk about relationships, that is the biggest part, absolutely. And I'm so glad you talked about it as much as you did, because that's really what we need to think about when we're coaching, and not just the X's and O's. So thank you for being here today, appreciate it.
I'm glad I got to be here. I got the afternoon off. I get to miss my wife leading PD today, that's awesome.
That is true, it's Wednesday, yeah, it's an extra
Says you're
bonus.
coming back, right? I said, nope.
Coach Wickham got the whole day off, he said.
That's Wickham.
Yeah, I know.
My stats kids and my cop kids would have killed me if I wasn't there this morning.
Yeah.
You guys are the best college ever. This was the best experience I ever had. My son's in debt for the next 10 years. So, yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, you guys are good to go, and I'll see you on Friday.